Let's talk about this pose a little bit, because I see just about every photographer takes this picture, but I see it done incorrectly most of the time. First mistake I see just about every time is, can you do me a favor? Put your body behind you more. You stay up here, but put your legs right behind your head. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, now bring your legs up. This is the number one mistake I see, is when the legs are coming out of the head. What's going on is you've got the body too far behind the subject. And then point your toes up some more, just coming right out of their head. So now we're going to bring your body over this way. Keep going. Okay, cool. Now cross your legs. This is the other thing I see quite a bit, is the legs are crossed the wrong direction. Now cross it the other leg. Okay, now the other mistakes you can see is when this is all crooked, hanging. If you have any mistakes with the pants, all you got to tell them to do is lay your legs down. The pant leg will straighten out at that point. Tell them to cross their leg when the legs are down. Now bring their legs up. And you'll never have any problems with this stuff down here. Watch if you see dirty feet or some of that stuff, or things on their feet. But the biggest thing I always see is the legs behind the body and not enough over here, and the legs incorrectly crossed. Now cross them the way you were originally crossing them. And then before that, you had them like really wide apart. Remember, you were like, yeah, and then your legs were also crossed too far down there. You want them to cross their legs at the ankle. So bring your legs together, cross them the opposite way, and this is all good. Don't ask me how I came up with this scene, but I often go to the mall. I have a kid that's got problems and wants to shop all the time, so we're at the mall quite a bit. And when I'm at the mall, she's looking at clothing. I'm looking at all the sets and things that are in the windows at every store. So if you're looking for great ideas, look in magazines, go to the mall, look around and look at all the displays that they have in the windows. When I was in the store, I saw these pillows, and then they were kind of cool and they were on display, so I just grabbed them, and this is kind of how this photograph kind of evolved. So I just take the pillows and kind of lay them out on the floor, and I guess the only science to really is how you lay the pillows out and where you mixed up the colors. And so I'm again just trying to encourage you to think about how you could get some different colored pillows and different styles of pillows and create your own kind of scene. So we're going to kind of take you through some of the science of how we light this and how we pose the subject. So let's take a look at this. You can take pillows and you can come up with any ideas you want, but you don't want them stacked so that they're coming again at you like that. So what we do is we turn them all the way around, and you can make them circular, you can do whatever you want with them. And then if you have a subject that has an outfit the same as, let's say, blue, you don't want to put the blue right on top of their outfit, so move it over to either side so you can flip the colors around to anything you want unless it's matching up with them. You can put these on an angle. I usually put them on top of each other, and then when you have your subject, when you tell your subject to lay down, remember, tell them to stand over here so that when they lay on them, they'll automatically end up with their body sideways. Okay, so now lay halfway on top of the pillows. Cool. Now you got to make sure that these pillows are down. So if her elbow was just on the green one, move it over there. This is going to plop up bigger than her. So now put your elbow on top. You're trying to keep them all down. Then you're watching their top so that nothing's showing. You got to tell them before they go down, be careful of yourself, hold your top or whatever you want to do. Okay, so then you're watching the hair, and you're just keeping that so it's not all bunched up in her neck and not all sloppy like that. So you're just coming in, catching the hair, giving it a nice flow, making sure things go good. I guess the trick to being a professional photographer is the fine details. It's not always just taking the photograph or telling the subject sit there and do this pose or whatever. It's fixing, it's checking the hair, it's checking the clothing and their posture, and are they up straight, and all the little details. And that's the biggest difference between a pro and an amateur. As far as the lighting goes, bring your legs up. When you have your light back here, you don't want your background light that's going to light your background hitting their legs. So you just back it up till the feet go dark. And then you don't want it too bright where it's going to just wash right back at you and your camera. So we use umbrellas back here to light the backgrounds, because the umbrella throws the light wide angle. So again, you're watching your light, keep it off your subject, let it light the background. What I've seen throughout the years is as photographers light the background, they'll either have a light from up above going down, and that light might spill onto the subject, or if they're lighting the background, they'll take those lights and they'll aim them to the center, and then you'll get contamination of the light spilling onto the subject. And the other thing that I see quite a bit is trying to overlight a white background. A white background's a white background, so if your subject's not white, you don't really need that much light, so maybe a half a stop or a stop. But if you're starting to get a halo around your subject, you're putting too much light on that background and it's coming back at you. Almost like when you're in a dark room and you got so much window light coming in the window, it's all a halo around your subject. So try maybe even a half a stop, but the biggest thing I can tell you is just make sure you got a cutoff point and keep your subject in front of that. The main light, make sure you lower it down when somebody's low on the floor. We've actually taken it and put it into, remember, softboxes rotate. Put it into horizontal position, and then it'll let the light wrap right around. Majority of photographers that ask me about a white background, they'll say the floor in front of the subject's gray. And if that floor is gray, it's because your light's not aiming down at the floor. If you're feathering your light up too much away from the floor, it's going to go gray. Now, if you think about it, the floor is closer to the light than your subject is. So if your main light's there, you got your main light aimed toward the floor and your subject, the floor should go white in front of your subject as long as you tilt that light down. If you're using a softbox and the floor is still not getting white, try a shoot-through umbrella, and that might really throw the light into the floor a little bit better for you. And again, keep the light up high, let it tilt down in there, make sure the light's not down too low. Then we came in with just a little bit of a reflector on the side, and then you can see, again, our fill light down on the floor, and it's a strip light, so I can shoot my camera right over it. It's not putting a lot of light out. Again, it's about a stop and a half less, but it's, again, just a little bit of insurance to make sure that your shadows have some detail in there. And then the other thing you've seen is this technique in lighting called wraparound. If you ever heard the term wraparound lighting, that's when your main light, if it's soft enough and it's in the right place or it's large enough, it'll actually come around and pretty much fill in those shadows. As you look at the photograph, those shadows on the subject aren't that deep and black, because when you have a subject on a white background, it's called a high key. You're not supposed to have like a 5:1 or a 4:1 deep dark black shadows on the side, because then now you've taken the scene out of context or out of ratio. A dark subject on a dark background can have like a 5:1 or 4:1 darker shadows, but on a high key, if your subject's got lighter outfits on, you want to keep the shadows lighter. Now we take a look at the results of the main light. Now we add the fill. Here is the results of the right umbrella, and here's the results of the left umbrella.